All right, let's talk solar. Today, we are putting together the complete blueprint for choosing the right system for you. So if you're stuck trying to decide between tying into the grid or going completely independent, well, you've come to the right place.
So here's the big question, right? Grid tie or off-grid? And look, the answer isn't just about the tech or how much it costs. It really comes down to your goals, where you live, and frankly, how much control you want over your power. By the time we're done here, you're going to have everything you need to make that call for yourself.
Okay, so let's break this down. At its heart, the choice is actually pretty straightforward. A grid tie system, it's like you're in a partnership with your local utility. You make extra power, you send it to them, and they often give you credits for it. But an off-grid system, that's a whole different story. It relies completely on its own batteries. You get total energy freedom. So it really boils down to this: partnership versus complete self-sufficiency.
To really get a feel for that trade-off, you've got to see how the power actually moves. So let's trace the journey of that energy, right from the sun all the way to your lights, for both systems.
First up, let's look at the grid tie system. Honestly, this one's super simple. Your panels soak up the sun and create DC power. That's direct current. That juice flows into an inverter, which is the magic box that switches it to AC, or alternating current, the kind of power all your stuff at home actually uses. Now here's the key part. Any power you don't use right away, it just zips right out to the utility grid. That's it. Simple, clean, totally connected.
Okay, now let's switch gears and look at the off-grid system. The journey here has a few more stops. So, power still starts at the panels, of course. But from there, it goes to a little device called a charge controller. Think of this as the traffic cop for your electricity. Its job is to safely manage the energy flowing into your battery bank, which is, without a doubt, the heart of an off-grid setup. Then, from the batteries, the power goes to the inverter and finally into your home. See those extra steps? Those extra pieces of hardware? That's the price of admission for total independence.
So if we boil it all down, here's the key takeaway. For a grid tie system, its defining feature is that connection to the utility. But for an off-grid system, it's all about the battery bank. You could almost say one system uses the grid as this giant, practically infinite battery, while the other needs a real, physical one sitting right there in your home.
All right, theory's great, but let's get practical. How do you actually figure out the size of the system you need? Let's get into the nuts and bolts and walk through the calculations. This is where we build the actual blueprint for your system.
Okay, this is step one, and it is absolutely the most important step. It all starts with your daily energy requirement. This is basically the grand total of all the power your gadgets, your lights, your appliances, everything gobbles up in a 24-hour period. We measure it in watt-hours, and trust me, this one number is the bedrock for every other calculation we're about to do.
So how do you figure this number out? It sounds complicated, but it's really not. All you do is make a list of everything that uses electricity. For each item, you take its wattage and multiply that by how many hours you use it every day. Then, you just add it all up. The biggest mistake people make here? Underestimating. So be honest with yourself. How many hours is that TV really on? That final number you get, that's your goal. That's what your system needs to produce.
Now, if you're even thinking about going off-grid, you have to get familiar with this term, depth of discharge, or just DOD. Think of it like this. You can't drain your phone battery to absolute zero without hurting it long-term, right? Same deal here. DOD is the percentage of your battery's power you can safely use. With the newer lithium iron phosphate batteries, you're looking at about an 80% DOD. The older, lead-acid ones, they're more comfortable around 50%. It's a huge difference.
And that DOD number is super important for this next step. To figure out how big your battery bank needs to be, you take that daily energy number we just calculated, you divide it by your system's voltage, usually 12, 24, or 48 volts, and then you factor in that depth of discharge. The result tells you exactly how many amp hours of battery storage you're going to need. It's the formula for energy freedom.
Okay, batteries are sorted. Next up, the panels. How many do you actually need to put on your roof? Well, guess what? We start with that same daily energy number again, but this time we divide it by something called peak sun hours. That's basically the amount of good, strong sunlight your specific location gets per day, and you can find this online pretty easily. You also factor in your system's overall efficiency. This will tell you how much solar array you need.
And last but not least, we have the brain of the whole operation, the inverter. This thing has to be beefy enough to run everything you own at the same time. So you add up the wattage of everything that might run at once, and then, this is important, you add another 25% on top of that as a safety buffer. Why so much? Well, think about when your fridge or AC unit kicks on. There's this huge initial surge of power, and your inverter has to be able to handle that kick without just giving up.
Okay, let's hit pause for a second. We've gone through all the fun stuff, the tech, the math, but now we need to talk about something that is, by far, the most important part of this whole conversation: safety. These are things you absolutely cannot afford to get wrong.
I mean, this quote really says everything, doesn't it? Never underestimate electricity. Whether it's the high voltage from the grid or the massive amount of current stored in a battery bank, you're dealing with power that can be lethal. You have to respect it, you have to plan for it.
So we're going to focus on a few major risks that, honestly, a lot of people just don't talk about enough. Think of these as the absolute non-negotiable safety rules for any installation. I want you to picture this. A big storm rolls through, and the power goes out in your whole neighborhood. A line worker comes out to fix the downed power line, and they think it's dead, right? Because the grid is down. But if your grid-tie solar system is still pumping electricity out, that line is live. That's called backfeeding, and it can be fatal. It's precisely why any modern inverter you buy must have something called anti-islanding protection. It's a safety feature that instantly shuts your system down the second the grid goes dark. Now, with off-grid systems, the biggest danger is sitting right there in your battery bank. Seriously, think of it as a huge amount of raw energy just waiting for an excuse to be released. If you charge it improperly or drain it too fast, it can overheat, vent some really nasty toxic gas, or, yep, catch fire. This is why fuses and breakers aren't just a good idea, they are your absolute first line of defense. They're not optional.
All right, we've looked at the tech, we've run the numbers, and we've gone over the most critical safety stuff. So now it's time to put all those pieces together and help you make that final call.
So let's just lay it all out side by side. When you look at grid tie, the big win is usually cost savings. The initial setup is cheaper and you can get those credits from the utility. Off-grid, on the other hand, is all about that sweet, sweet independence, but it costs more, mostly because of that big, expensive battery bank. As for complexity, grid tie is way, way simpler. The key difference in parts? Well, it's the grid connection versus the batteries. And finally, the risks are just different. You've got to worry about backfeeding with grid tie and battery safety with off-grid. Basically, this is your ultimate cheat sheet for making the choice.
And there you have it. The blueprint is officially in your hands. You know how the power flows, you've got the formulas to size your own system, and most importantly, you know the critical safety hazards to watch out for. So the only question left to ask is, what are you going to build?